Well, with that, I'm going to take the reign. James, I'm sure, will be joining us shortly. James was going to introduce Eric Zell, who is consultant to Prologis. Eric is a resident of Richmond and has done quite a lot of work with developers here and with the businesses here. So, Eric, I'm going to let you take it from here.
Thanks, Katrinka, and good afternoon, everybody. I think I know almost everybody on this call, in some cases for way too long, like John Z and Don Gosney, and who I've known for 50 years. Anyways, as you all know, I am a Richmond-based governmental relations public affairs consultant. I've had the pleasure of getting to work with Prologis on the new Hilltop Mall redevelopment. I just want to say, from my perspective as a Richmond resident, I'm really excited about the fact that a company of Prologis's depth and breadth, they're the largest logistics company in the world. They've made a huge investment in Richmond, right? They are not optioning the Hilltop Mall, they've bought the Hilltop Mall. So they are going to be long-term players and community members and participants with the business community in Richmond. So I'm just really thrilled that somebody with their expertise and their resources have chosen to join the Richmond community and to invest in Richmond. I think many of you know they paid significant dollars for the Hilltop Mall, and so they are deeply invested. And I think it's a great opportunity for Richmond and for the community. Just to give you a little context of, and Prologis will introduce themselves and who they are and what they're thinking about. But just to give you a little context, they've only owned the property now, maybe 6 months at most. And so they are very much at the beginning of a very long process. The city has decided that they want to do a specific plan for the Hilltop area. And that specific plan process hasn't even kicked off. We expect it's going to be anywhere from an 18-month to possibly 2-year or even longer process. It's going to include, environmental review. It's going to include tremendous amount of community input. And so we're very much at the early stages of this. So we're just really happy that we're really starting the process of reaching out to the community. We've been to the Hilltop, one of the Hilltop neighborhood councils, and had a good webinar up there a bit ago. I think it's been a couple months now. And so we're really just starting to get Prologis's feet wet in Richmond. So, with that, I just want to turn this over to Samita Thrakral, who is a lead member of the team. And she's going to go through a PowerPoint for everybody. And then you're going to meet the team through that process. And then we'll be open for as many questions as everybody has. So with that, I'll turn it over to Samita, who I think will screen share the PowerPoint. You're on mute, Samita.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right, excellent. Well, thank you for having us here today. It's a pleasure to be here. And, I always find it strange with virtual meetings. You can't always see your whole audience. But I can see some of you, so that's great. Hello to everyone that I can and cannot see. So as Eric said, I'm Samita Thakral. I'm an investment officer at Prologis, and I'm leading the Hilltop project for Prologis. My background, actually, I've been in the real estate development investment business for almost 20 years. I started out as an architect, and before Prologis, I worked for Hines, Equity Residential and Lend Lease, and I worked on the ground up development of master plan communities, 6 million square feet of office space, thousands of residential units, and now am leading some of our work here in the Bay Area for Prologis. We're super excited about being in Richmond. We think it has a lot of potential. It's a beautiful city with a lovely waterfront, great people, strong culture. And, our business as a logistics company is evolving, changing, and growing. And we feel that is at the point where it, wants to be more integrated into communities and neighborhoods. And that's kind of part of our thinking on why we acquired this mall. The presentation that's up right now, we wanted to cover a little bit about who we are. And, Eric said we're at very early stages of our thinking. So we haven't created a master plan and don't have a defined program for the Hilltop Mall, but we'd love to get your thoughts and comments and share a little bit about what our intent is here. So with that, I'll jump into the slide presentation. Feel free to interject and ask us any questions that come into your mind. So that's a quote right there from our Western Region President, and just talks a little bit to how we think as a company, that we're very much focused on, having a broad goal of not just being profitable, but also making sure that the impact we make on communities and markets is a positive one. So let's go to the next slide, Banke. So who are we? Prologis is one of the world's largest logistics real estate providers. We were founded in the Bay Area in 1983. Our current CEO is one of the co-founders who is very much a resident of the Bay Area. So we're born and bred in the Bay Area. We're consistently recognized as one of the most sustainable and innovative companies in our industry. Let's go to the next slide, Banke. And so that's our team. You see some of us here, and there are some that are not in this meeting, but we're very much committed to this project. And we have a large, diverse team with different skill sets. So, I'm speaking right now, but you'll hear from Banke, who is our Entitlements and Community Engagement Associate. We also have Mark English on the call. I don't see him, but I know he's there, who is also working for us on leading this project. And then we have a few other people who have different specialties on property management, leasing, construction management, who are all part of our team here. So who are we as a company and what are our values? So we're very much a values-driven organization, and three of the driving, leading values that we believe in. The first one is innovation. So we're always looking for better ways to do things. We're super excited about how technology can help us do what we do more efficiently. And we invest in startups that are coming up with ways to, use clean technology and, transform the logistics world. That's one of our values. It's a little distracting to hear all the people entering the room. Our second value is environmental leadership. So we're very much committed to reducing carbon emissions. Every project that we do, we create a sustainability plan, and we will be doing that for Hilltop as well, thinking about, all right, what are some of the big moves and the small moves that help us mitigate carbon emissions? Can we look at on-site power generation? So as you all, our buildings tend to have large roofs and have some of the largest solar installations in the world. So that's another aspect that we look at. And third, we have a big focus on community workforce training. So we've implemented this community workforce initiative that Prologis has in many of the markets that we have a presence. We work with groups in the community, and we create a program that is specifically suited to that community. And Banke will talk a little more about this in the slides that are coming up. So those are our values. Let's move to the next slide, Banke. All right, I'll hand it over to Banke to introduce herself and then talk a little bit about our community workforce initiative.
Hi, everyone. So glad to be joining you here today, and for having the opportunity to get to know the Council of Industries as well as the Chamber of Commerce better. So as Samita mentioned earlier, I am supporting the team in mostly entitlements and community engagement. And I look forward to engaging the community further and hearing your thoughts on our plan development at the Hilltop. So following up on what Samita mentioned, supporting the communities that we have a presence in is a core value of ours. And we've demonstrated that through the creation and launch of the Community Workforce Initiative, which we launched after hearing widely from communities that we're in that there's a desire for access to more employment opportunities. So in 2018, we launched the program and a pledge to train 25,000 participants by 2025 using an online training platform that not only covers basic workforce skills and industry-specific knowledge, but also key areas including workforce safety, as well as forklift operations. Today, we have launched in 10 cities across the US and UK, and we look forward to exploring how to bring the program to Richmond, as well as the Greater Bay Area. So one of our programs was launched in Southern California through a partnership with EXP. We brought the program to high school where we've had the success of graduating over 800 students, many who have gone on to land internships and jobs in the transportation, distribution, and logistics industries. And really our efforts to support the communities that we're in doesn't just stop with our community workforce initiative program. We've also made it a commitment to support our communities, whether it's government agencies, community-based organizations, public health organizations, and other relief organizations throughout this unprecedented year, not only through contributions, but also through in-kind rent. Again, going back to our core values, we're really excited to explore what it is that the Richmond community desires and how we can support and actionize these desires. So we look forward to engaging not only but also the greater Richmond community and really understanding how we can support and move the Richmond community forward. And with that, I'll hand it over to Samita to talk more about our sustainability efforts.
Thank you, Banke. So I mentioned earlier that we're committed to doing what's right for the planet. And some of our sustainability initiatives, one of them is our solar installations, since we have large roofs. So we have some of the largest solar installations in the world, and we'll be looking at how we can use that track record that we have and implement that on the Hilltop site. We're also very, very engaged in the space of AV trucks that can be run on alternate fuels so that we can move away from fossil fuels. We all know that one of the challenges of putting that into place is the commercial availability of these vehicles. The other challenge is creating the infrastructure and how they can recharge during these long trips that they take on. And so Prologis is working closely with partners to see how we can become part of creating that infrastructure. So that's an example of our commitment to sustainability. Next slide, please. And, you know, as mentioned earlier, we don't have a master plan yet. It's all very early stages. We just started talking to the city, but we just want to talk a little bit about our vision and our thinking, which will drive the plan for the Hilltop site. So can you go to the next slide, Anke? So our vision for this is that it will be a mixed-use neighborhood, and we want to create a vibrant center of innovation, e-commerce, and business, right? A place that Richmond residents can be proud of. We know that the mall used to be a source of pride, and it was a place where people came together. You know, we've spoken to so many people who've grown up in Richmond or even around Richmond who visited the mall regularly and said, oh yeah, I used to go there as a child or a teenager. So we want to create that vibrant town center somewhere in this development so that people can come together here again and feel a sense of pride. We know that for this site, there needs to be a mix of uses. We know that Richmond needs more housing. We also envision having a logistics component here. That's the business that we're in. So that's our vision. You know, it's going to be a mix of uses. It's going to be vibrant, walkable neighborhood that encourages alternate modes of transportation. Next slide, please. And these are our 4 shared goals as we move along the process of creating a plan for this neighborhood. We believe that, you know, success will be a combination of these 4 outcomes. So the first one, starting from the right, is design excellence. So we're in the process of engaging a world-class architect to help us envision what is the mix of uses, you know, how do we incorporate placemaking in our thinking? How do we think about health and wellness in the design of this neighborhood? How do we incorporate public spaces that bring people together and think a little bit about programming them in the right way? Secondly, are the social outcomes, right? How do we make sure that we're encouraging equity and making sure every stakeholder is heard, and thinking about affordable housing, public spaces, and the workforce development that we just talked about? And then the third one was environmental, which I already talked about. So we are going to engage an environmental consultant that can, you know, advise us on a broad strategy on what we can achieve, in addition to just, you know, individual buildings and what they can achieve in terms of reducing carbon emissions and being energy efficient. And last but not the least, you know, in order to meet those 3 goals and make sure that we create an economically resilient development here, we want to make sure that our ideas and our plan are very well grounded in a strong economic thesis that works here and that the market can support. Because the problem we have right now with the mall is that it's empty, it's vacant, and it doesn't make economic sense. So we feel that with you, with the community, with the city and Prologis, that these are our shared goals that we aspire to reach. And I want to invite Mark English, who I can't see, but I think he's on the call, to jump in here and introduce himself and add anything else he'd like to.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Samita. Mark English. I'm a Bay Area-based developer, and in addition to logistics, in my background, also have been responsible for office, residential, retail repositioning. So I have a lot of different things in my background, which is part of the reason I'm on the team here. And I think Samita and Banke have covered a lot of ground here and done a good job. I think one other thing I'd like to just share with this group too is, as Eric mentioned, we've already closed on the property. We own it and it's there. And we've got probably a 3 to 4, if not longer, year planning process between the specific plan and then our own specific project entitlements. So we're also looking to find creative ways to activate the property as it is today. And we've been, interacting with the community, finding out, what people need, where there are gaps. So trying to find creative ways to activate the property, and that's going to help us learn a lot more about how it kind of fits in the context of Richmond. And I think a lot of those lessons will then get translated into the design of the future redevelopment project. So this is, as much about, I guess, us giving the presentation and introducing ourselves to you all folks, but also trying to learn as much as we can, because you guys have been here for a long time, and we'd love to kind of understand what you all do and any of your thoughts for us too.
Great, thanks, Mark. I think that's the end of our slideshow. We just wanted to open it up to any thoughts or questions that the group here had that we could address.
Okay, so for Q&A, if you all, I know we have a couple people on phone calls. So what I'm going to do is take a couple of raised hands, and then I will ask those on phone calls to give me a moment after I take a few questions, and we'll give you an opportunity to ask your questions. Just as an FYI, I see Don Gosney raised his hand. If you are on computer, laptop, or iPhone, if you look on the very bottom, there's a little icon there that says reactions, and there's a raise hand icon. If you just click on that, it's going to show me that your hands are raised. Thank you. Don Gosney, go ahead with your question, please.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the presentation, and I especially appreciate the fact that you're coming into our community and willing to work with us. I see great things in our future. But the first comment I had, you had one of the slides showing a young lady on a bicycle wearing a Cal sweatshirt. And I truly appreciate that. Now, Stanford is a great university, but this is Bear territory. Go Bears. So you got it right from the beginning. So you're already one step ahead. But when you came in about a month ago and spoke at the Fairmead Hilltop Neighborhood Council, you gave a great presentation. We had 2 city council members there, and it worries me some of the comments that I heard from them, pretty much telling you how they wanted you to develop your property, not advising you, telling you. One of them was more direct than the other. He was a little bit more subtle, the second person. But again, kind of forgetting about the fact that you paid a tremendous amount of money for the property, but they want to be able to tell you what they will allow you to do with your property. And so I just hope that you're prepared for that. I think that going out into the community, as many communities as you can, as you've already indicated you were going to do, but going out there and making presentations and getting input and feedback from the greater Richmond community and even outside of Richmond, because this also affects El Cerrito and Pinole and Hercules, San Pablo. But we don't want a very small group of Richmond residents that may hold a lot of power right now. We don't want them telling you what you can do, to the point that you are going to be like a lot of other businesses and just throw up your hand and say, screw it, it's just not worth it. Right? We're behind you. Thank you.
I tried to get them to put the UCLA shirt on there, Don, but they vetoed me.
No. With that, let's see. Thank you, Don. For the next question, we go to Ms. Payne. Sorry, I don't know your first name. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hello, my name is Sakina Payne, and I've been a resident of
I cannot hear you, Ms. Payne. Can you speak a little louder?
Hello?
That's better. Thank you.
Oh, hi. My name is Sakima Payne. I've been a resident of Richmond my entire life. I just have a couple questions of how, I just want to have a clear understanding of what's going to replace the Hilltop Mall. Is it going to be a logistics center, a shopping center, and it will have affordable housing units, all replacing that mall up there? And what does the schematics of everything look like? Is it going to be like taken down as a whole, the Hilltop Mall? And that was my questions.
So we're in really early
Thank you.
stages. That's a great question. I can address it, where those are all the questions that we're trying to answer as we embark into the design process. So thank you for asking that question. We don't have an exact answer for you, but all the uses you mentioned, it's our aspiration to have all of these on the Hilltop site. So far, we're working with the assumption that we will likely have to demolish majority of the mall, if not all of it. As we get deeper into the design process, work with the city and the community, there'll be a lot more clarity. And we're hoping that in the next few months, we'll have a plan to demonstrate how all of this fits in.
Okay, thank you. Hopefully we could be is there a way we could be notified of the continuous meetings regarding this? Because I'm a resident of this neighborhood and I would like to be updated on what's going on.
Absolutely. Eric, do you want to address that? How I think we are notifying neighborhoods and meeting each of the community neighborhood groups as well,
Yeah,
right?
so we've already, and I saw one question in the chat that about Fairmead Hilltop. That's actually the first public meeting we had was with Fairmead Hilltop. It was sponsored by the president, Arto Rentella, and it was a webinar. So I think a lot of people were on that call from throughout the area. We are being responsive to both requests to come and speak and also are being proactive. So we've already heard from the Iron Triangle Neighborhood Council. We've heard from North and East Neighborhood Council. We've heard from some of the HOAs up at surrounding Hilltop Mall. We've been working closely with Cesar Zepeda, who is I don't know if he still is, but was the president of the Hilltop District Neighborhood Council. Our intention is to, and ultimately meet with the RNCC, the Coordinating Council, and all the various interests. I mean, effectively, anybody that wants to meet and learn about this, understand it's a long-term process. Yeah.
Sorry to cut you off, but
No,
is this through learning about this through a website or all these in-person meetings? I just want to know like how I could continually be notified of these meetings, because I found out about this through the Richmond Chamber of Commerce. Is there a website where we could go, or is it an in-person meeting?
There will be. There will be a social media presence that Prologis will have. It's not established at the moment, but we will. And that could be a central source of information. But
do you know when?
Do I know when? I don't know if Samita or Banke want to respond to that, but it's
when we would have a master plan. Is that the question?
No, Samita. She's really talking about a central portal where folks can learn about who we're meeting with and when we're meeting. So it's really more of a Prologis website specific to Hilltop that we could establish that folks could, just could be called Prologis at Hilltop, right? And it would effectively be a place where folks can go to find out, where we're going, maybe ask questions, those kind of things.
Yeah, we're in the process of setting that up. I think maybe in a couple of months, it should be, some version of it should be live.
Okay.
We will post that on the chamber. The chamber will post it, and also Council of Industries will have it on their website. And we'll make sure that we email it out to our members also.
Yeah, and the city will also have on their website, when they're starting the specific plan process, they will have the whole process laid out there as well in terms of when public comment is being requested and what their process is going to be. That is going to be led by the city, not by us. And so they're also going to be a central repository of information as the specific plan develops. And they probably won't know everybody we're talking to. So, we will have our own website that will have our calendar of who we're meeting with and when.
That sounds great. Thank you all for answering my questions. Hopefully that website could be up soon. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sakima, for your question. We're going to go on to Ryan Lau, and then after that, we'll ask some of those on the phone, if they have any questions. Go ahead, Ryan, unmute yourself.
Hi. Yeah, so as a Richmond Chamber Board member, just wanted to echo Dawn's comments about, appreciating you all coming to speak with the community before the formal processes started. And as a AC Transit representative, just wanted to really appreciate Eric and the Prologis team reaching out to us and really getting a sense of our needs. And the comments around, really being integrated into the community, a focus on sustainability and encouraging alternative modes. Those are all greatly appreciated and really want to make sure that transit is integrated into the project planning, which, I think during our meeting, that has been, a commitment that you guys have made and definitely appreciate that, but just wanted to kind of emphasize that piece. And we're looking to stay involved in the specific planning process. So appreciate it.
Thank you, Ryan.
Okay, going to those who are calling in. Does anyone have a question right now? Not hearing any. I'm going to go to Neil, and I hope I'm saying your name right. Zarkin?
Zarchin. You're close, Zarchin. I'm with the Food Bank of Contra Costa and Solano, Richmond resident, Kennedy High School, class of 1974. I appreciate your effort and your commitment to community workforce development. In your slideshow, you made a a comment about supporting other nonprofits that serve and support the local community. And I'd like to know how we can get in touch with whoever is your corporate social responsibility officer, and how the food bank could possibly partner with Prologis through this, through your development process.
I think that the first point of contact, well, thank you first of all for reaching out and speaking to us. I think the first point of contact, if you could contact Banki and myself, and we should have a conversation and learn a little bit about what you do, and we can involve whoever else we need to from the broader team.
Okay, will your contact information be published?
It is in our slide presentation.
Okay, which will be mailed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that answers my question. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your question. I want to acknowledge we have Councilmember Eduardo Martinez on the call too. Welcome, Eduardo. With that, we're going to go to Inad Burrell. Go ahead and unmute. Inad. Okay, moving on. I see Carol's iPhone. Carol, I don't have your last name, but go ahead and unmute and ask your question, please.
Yes, thank you. My name is Carol Macon. Next time I'll put my last name up there for you. But I am a resident of Hilltop Village. We're exactly across the street from the mall. And my concern is, I did hear that you plan to demolish. My concern is how far in advance of construction will you be doing this demolition? Is there going to be an empty lot just sitting out there for years? Is there going to be rubble sitting in our neighborhood for a long period of time? Or when you do this demolition, are you going to do it very close in proximity to the time you're beginning to do some reconstruction? Those of us that live in this neighborhood, by the way, I'm a Richmond resident who has been here all of my life, which is a total of 76 years. So I would just like to know what is the plan with regard to the demolition you mentioned, and when some kind of construction will take place.
Thanks for the question, Carol, and it's nice to meet you. Thank you for attending this meeting. So good question. I think, without having a solid plan in hand, but I would, my estimate would be that we would only start any construction work on site when everything is approved, decided, which I think is 2 to 3 years down the road at the minimum. So once we have a plan, we know what we're building, community, city, everyone signed off on it, and we're ready to commence work on that plan, that's when we would go ahead and start making any kind of physical changes on site, which includes the demolition of the existing mall. And when we do that, we will make all the efforts, we'll make all our effort to make sure that it has a minimal impact on the people living around the mall. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Macon. Inad Burrell, are you still with us? Do you have a question? Please unmute.
Hello, everyone. I am still with you. Thank you. I don't know if you had called my name and I had stepped out.
Inad, can you raise your volume, please?
Is that better?
A little better.
Okay, the question. So for Banki, I wanted to know if there would be a community benefits agreement coming or something developing in that area. And then for whomever else could answer this question around the solar panels, if you will be engaging with some of the businesses, Black-owned businesses that have solar panel installation businesses, and possibly giving an opportunity to bid or to be a part of the work.
So Samita, do you want to take the question on the solar panels?
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks for asking the question. And I think it's a little, well, I guess the answer to your question is yes, we're open to giving opportunities to Black-owned businesses, to not just the solar panel piece, but several other pieces that will be bid out for this project. It's a little early to be speaking to them because we don't even have a master plan, but generally the answer is yes. And Banke, I'll let you address the CWI.
So in regards to the community benefits agreement, as Samira and as Eric and Mark have mentioned, we're still in the very, very nascent stages of planning and really understanding what our master plan will look like in terms of schematics and also product type uses. But we do plan on engaging in a community benefits agreement once we start to understand kind of what our plans will look like and entail. But thank you for the question. And we do look forward to engaging the community and notifying the community of how to stay updated as well as involved in the community agreements benefits once that comes forward.
Thank you. I am a Richmond resident of over 25 years and also a member of the Richmond Chamber. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Enad. Moving on to Ahmad Anderson. Go ahead and unmute yourself, please.
Thank you, Katrinka. Peace and blessings to everyone in space. And Prologis, thank you for being in our space as well, and now your space. As an Economic Development Commissioner, one of the things that I've mentioned before to mostly everybody on this call is not only the community benefits that Enad mentioned, but specifically around making sure that those community benefits impact the areas that are needed most. So when Hilltop was developed, one of the shame and crimes of it, it forgot about the impact it would have on Richmond, downtown Richmond. And it started with El Cerrito Plaza being built. That was the demise of downtown. And what really made it crumble is when Hilltop came into play. So in the community benefits, we'd like you to try to look at what you can do to impact those communities in the downtown Richmond area. One, as a focus, and look at being able to develop that so that it's just not surviving, but thriving as a community. There are projects that are going on there now that are help, will make and pave the way as you're beginning these early stages of planning. In addition to that, you talked about logistics training. What would be great for this West Contra Costa community, and specifically if Richmond is to be a hub, as you all are in that type of business, looking at working on developing employment and training or East-based skills center, if you will, that will not only incorporate the development around transportation and making a hub for West Contra Costa County and the area as a region, but also aligning with buildings and trades, aligning with the unions to develop even technology, if you will, from coding to buildings and trades and development, to be able to train the people who live here, providing them an opportunity. Because right now we have a city council that is misdirected on what the benefits of economic development are, what the benefits of community benefits are, and training the people who live here so they can not only stay here and not have to move, but be a part of the process of developing the city of pride and purpose. Thank you.
Thank you for your question, Ahmed, and your comments. So I think you said a few different things, and I'll respond to what you said on community workforce initiative. And we are in the process of working with Richmond Build so that we can potentially integrate our community workforce initiative program into a certification that the students going to that institute could graduate with, which puts them on a trajectory for a career in logistics. So we're having those conversations, and those are, I think, primarily focused on the Richmond area. Our project will also adhere to the local hire requirement in Richmond, which is 25%. And once it's under construction and full on, we anticipate that it should be generating around 1,000 plus or minus jobs at different stages of the project. That's not including the people who come there and work full time when it's fully built. That's the under construction number. So we're really optimistic that if we can create an economically resilient mix of uses here, it can be a great catalyst for economically revitalizing Richmond, generating tax revenues, which does have a spillover effect on the rest of the community. So I hope that addresses the second part of what you were saying. And then on the first part, I just wanted to clarify, you mentioned downtown Richmond and how it suffered after the Hilltop Mall was developed decades ago. Are you asking us if we wouldn't somehow invest in downtown? Because we don't control that area or have any ownership stake there.
Right. So as a community benefit, I would hope that you would have that foresight to at least think about what you could do to support maybe if you're doing training, for example, with your logistics, that you use in that hub and spokes methods, looking at putting a training hub or satellite in the downtown area so that folks that don't have general access in that BIPOC community can go there, which may even mean working with West Contra Costa Unified School District about how you can put that training in their curriculum, right? So it provides it for the students at Richmond High, the students at Kennedy High, where we have a great population of Black and Latinx, to be able to see that there are other opportunities which they may not be involved in as far as going to college, but then aligning on how we can work to develop a curriculum that aligns with Richmond Build, which aligns with success for our youth and those that have those opportunities before them.
Yeah, Ahmad, just to expand on that, we are reaching out to, we haven't done it yet, but we are going to reach out to the school district. We're also going to reach out to Contra Costa College, talk to them. And regarding community benefit, just for, again, we're at the beginning of a very long process, but as many of you may know, the city council has talked about a new process by which community benefits would be developed and discussed within the broader community. And I suspect this project's going to be subject to that kind of process.
Yeah.
We don't know where that's going yet, but Prologis obviously wants to be a benefit to the community. I mean, one of the things I just wanted to mention as well, because I think people will be interested, is because we're in this long-term process, Prologis is looking at interim uses up at the site that would really be neighborhood serving interim uses. And there's been a lot of discussion of different things. There's been discussion of running basketball camps up there, of soccer camps, of food trucks, of some kind of farmers market. I mean, we're looking at lots of different opportunities. Some folks have asked for flea markets. There's all kinds of interim uses. The idea is not, and this is to the question of the prior resident up there, is, we don't want it to be idle. Prologis wants to activate it in the interim and provide services that the community around the mall particularly want to see. As everybody knows, there's a lot of desire for a grocery store up there. We're not talking about bringing in a brick and mortar grocery store, but certainly providing, services, food services potentially in different ways. So that's definitely part of it. And one of the first things they're looking at doing, because I think this matters to the chamber and to COI, is that Hilltop sign is an eyesore, and it's not really what you want to see coming into the Richmond community. It's got graffiti all over it, and it's frankly got names on it of businesses that are no longer there. So they're gonna refurbish that sign. They're in the process of having that discussion. It's basically, it'll be interim because we don't know ultimately what the uses are going to be, but one of the first things they're going to do is show some pride to the city and to the community by improving on that big sign off of Interstate 80, so people feel welcome coming into Richmond instead of feel like the dilapidated sign is the first thing they see driving down 80. So I just wanted to provide that information as well, because I think folks are going to be interested in those interim uses as well.
I appreciate that clarification. And last, and I'll be done, is to ensure really in what you're doing and what you just said there about the stores and the other things that we don't remain idle. One of the other problems that happened with Hilltop is we placed businesses there that the community, from an economic perspective, couldn't afford to shop there continuously. And so we want to meet people where they are and where they can afford, and it's useful for all. Okay.
Thank you, Ahmad.
Thanks, Ahmad.
Just as an aside, COI worked with the planning department when the specific plan was put together for the Campus Bay area. And I know we want to see something happen overnight with the Hilltop Mall, but it is a process and it takes time. And, a specific plan means that it's pulled out of the general plan and the focus is on the community and what's best for the city and what's best for the developers to put there. So it's a whole process, and it includes an extensive amount of reach out to the public and public meetings. So there will be time to participate in that. I don't think anybody has to be concerned about that, but a specific plan will take time, but it also includes a lot of input, not only from the city and the developers themselves, but also from the community. We are set to end at 1:30. We're coming up at 1 o'clock. We have 3 more hands raised. I just have a question to our presenters. Are you okay if we go ahead and ask those 3 questions and then we'll terminate the meeting?
Whatever works for you.
Okay.
We'll be here
Great.
as long as you want until 1:30.
Okay, sounds wonderful. Stephanie Temple Hoyt, you had your hand up. Would you like to unmute yourself?
Sure. Thank you so much. I'm really glad that I caught this today, because I think you guys did this maybe a year or so ago, the first time I caught it. So anyway, I'm a realtor with Compass, and I'm a green designee. So I'm really happy to see that you have a commitment to sustainability. I want to know how to support your efforts and participate in getting the word out. So how do I do that?
Well, reach out to us so we can chat with you and learn more about how we could work together. Our contact is in the presentation.
You bet. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Moving on to Cordell, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Good. So I know this sounds like a dumb question, but what kind of businesses what kind of business should be in Hilltop Mall? I know that's a dumb question.
Well, thank you for the question, and there's no dumb question. Are you asking us what kind of businesses should be in it today, are existing in it today? Is that your question?
Yeah, existing.
We just have a few. It's mostly vacant. The only operational tenants are Walmart, 24-Hour Fitness, and I think Carvana. Those are the 3.
Bridgestone's still open too.
Also Bridgestone. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cordell. Caesar Cepeda, do you want to go ahead and unmute yourself, Caesar?
Yeah, thanks, Katrina. I just wanted to add to what Eric mentioned earlier, and also thank Prologis, because you have done a great job at trying to get in front of the whole community as much as possible. So that meeting that was had, it seems like forever ago now, but a couple months ago, that was hosted by the Fairmead Neighborhood Council. That was actually a coordinated meeting of the Hilltop Neighborhood Council. So it included the Fairmead Neighborhood Council, Hilltop District Neighborhood Council, Parkchester, and Hilltop Village. So you guys have already gone out there and started meeting with all of the vicinity at least. So thank you for doing that. And thank you again for getting in front of the community and trying to answer as many questions to a plan that you don't quite have a lot of answers to, because you're planning it along with the community, which I think is great. You didn't come in to say this is what it's going to be. You're saying here we are, and let's shape it together, which I think it's really great. And thank you for being here today as well. So I just wanted to clarify that for anybody that lives in that neighborhoods or any of those neighborhoods, knowing that if you connect with your neighborhood council, that's another way of being able to figure out when other meetings are happening. And then Hilltop, we created the Hilltop Partnership Group. And that's for us to come together with all 4 neighborhood councils for that purpose, because we know that while this project is within the Hilltop District Neighborhood Council, we know it's going to affect the traffic. We know it's going to affect the surrounding communities. And we're also thinking about how do we connect with the neighborhood councils and communities that might not always be looked at because they have no other projects, like Parkchester, for example. They could just be on the corner. They're never going to get a Hilltop Mall being built in their neighborhood council. But we brought them into this group so they can try to get any benefits that are possible through this project. So again, thank you for being here, and thank you for looking at Richmond and working with the community. Thank you.
Thanks, Cesar.
Thank you, Cesar. I have someone's hand raised, but it's ILC-LT-22. Can you introduce yourself and unmute, please?
Absolutely. My name is Ardo Rentila, and I'm from the Fairmead Hilltop Neighborhood Council. And I want to thank Cesar for his words, greatly appreciated. Being that we've been here for so long, we know that there's a spike in crime in the city of Richmond, and the RPD has been defunded. We would like to know, what are you going to do for security at the Hilltop Mall, so to keep the homeless out and tagging and so forth while it's dormant?
Yeah, that's a good question. And we've heard that there are security concerns there. I think the long-term way to address that is to redevelop that whole site, right? When more people live there, walk there, there's activation, that's how these things get addressed. Because if something is empty and deserted, it just makes those areas more susceptible to security issues. So in the long term, this plan that we're creating for a master plan community, that's how we would address it. In the short term, we do have property management and security that patrols that area. And in addition to that, Eric had mentioned, and I think Mark also mentioned, that we have plans to activate it and bring in some interim uses. We're looking at basketball, soccer, farmers markets. So we feel that when we bring more activation to these areas and more people, that should help alleviate some of this, the security issue that we've been hearing about. And we're open to any other suggestions you have as residents.
Thank you.
Thank you, Arto. Moving to Ellis Swallenberg with Weiss Associates. Unmute, please.
Yeah, thank you, Katrinka. Appreciate it. And Prologis, thank you so much for the information and the presentation. Our company does a lot of environmental work locally in Richmond, and I just wondered what environmental projects or what environmental work you anticipate on the site going forward.
When you say environmental, are you talking about soil testing? What type of environmental work is that?
Talking about soil and groundwater and air.
Yeah. So we'll be doing all that. We have some work that has already been done. We're engaging consultants to do a lot of the future testing work that will be required there. And so if that is something you do, feel free to reach out to us, and we'll put you in touch with our project management folks so that they can put you into the list of considered firms.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ellis. And I have a question from D3 Comic Book. Can you please introduce yourself and unmute yourself? Thank you.
Hello, my name is Darren. I'm the owner of D3 Comic Book Spot. We used to be in Hilltop Mall, and I'm also a longtime resident of Richmond for about 53 years. My question is more of a concern that I hope whatever is being decided upon, that you consider small businesses in Richmond and bring them in and have a space for them in the community of Hilltop going forward.
Absolutely. Thank you for your question. And we do want to engage and work with small businesses when we think about interim uses and the long-term plan for the site. And so if you can, we'd appreciate the help of this group in bringing to us the businesses that, that want to be part of this. And if you're one of them, feel free to reach out to us so that we can understand what you do better and keep that in mind as we move along with the plan.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for that question. I do not see any more questions or hands raised. I'm going to give one more
Katrinka, I have a question. Marina.
Yeah,
Brown.
I was just going to open it up to those who are on call. Go ahead, Ms. Brown.
I wanted to know, will there be any eateries like restaurants for us to visit? It's nice to have some fine dining or good dining or just a place to come and have lunch or what have you.
Well, we don't have a plan yet, but I think it's safe to say yes. We do want to create some kind of retail presence and amenities, which are restaurants, a grocery store. And it's good to hear that that is something that you're looking for, because that's part of why we're here. We want to hear from the community what they want to see. And we feel that food uses are a good way to bring the community together and activate a site. So I would anticipate that we will have those on the site.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, that's one thing that we desperately would like to see is some really nice places to stay and spend our money in Richmond. Let's see, any other questions from our callers? Councilmember Martinez, did you have anything you wanted to add before we close out the meeting? Okay, with that, I personally wanted to thank Samita, Banke, and Mark for the presentation today. We're looking forward to hearing more about Prologis's plans for the Hilltop area development. We want to thank you for reaching out to the community and staying in contact with the community. We at COI, once we do receive information about your website, we'll get that out to individuals, and we'll also, for those of you who dialed in today, please email me kpruck@sbcglobal.net. It's in the chat. If you want a copy of the recording and the presentation, we'll get that to you. We will also post that on our website, councilofindustries.net.